Assalamualaikum. My name is Shazana Nabila. I'm a Bachelor of Physiotherapy student. Today, I would like to present one of the greatest China emperor from the Tang Dynasty, which is Emperor Tang Taizong. Now, let's see a bit of his background. His name is Emperor Tang Taizong, which is mean the great ancestor of the Tang. His personal name is Li Shimin. It was given by his father that meant save the earth and pacify the people. He was born in 28th of January 598 at the Qingshan Palace in Wukong. His reign duration is from 4th of September 636 until 10th of July 649, which is ended because of his death. He was the second emperor and co-founder of Tang Dynasty. He is known as the most powerful, successful, and prosperous emperor since the Han Dynasty. His reign was set as an example to future emperors. Reign of Zhenguan, which is the name of his reign, is considered a golden age in ancient China history as he flourished economically and militarily. In his earlier life, before he became an emperor, he born in a privileged family. His father was a mix of China and Turkic influences and would have likely received the very best Confucian education, archery training, and horsemanship. So he makes a great religion practitioner and a great soldier. In 613, Gao Shidian, which is one of their highest officials, impressed by Li Shimin and offered him the hand of his 20-year-old. In 650, the Sui Emperor Yang was ambushed and surrounded and blockaded by forces from Eastern Turkic Khaganate and required aid, and he served with distinction in the party who rescued him or even led it himself. When he was just 18, he maneuvered his father to revolt and played a leading part in defeating other contenders to establish him on the throne of the new Tang Dynasty. Previously, before the Tang Dynasty was founded, his father actually a general for one of the Sui Dynasty emperor. After his father became an emperor, he became his main general and successfully led the army in many battles against his father's rivals and helped to strengthen his rule. His father brought him alone, leaving the other brothers as he was put in charge of important city of Taiyuan. That is how reliable Li Shimin or Emperor Tang Taizong was when he was just a young man. Next. Becoming an emperor was a challenge for Li Shimin or Emperor Tang Taizong. Li Shimin's older brother became the crown prince when his father became emperor, as he is the second child in his family. But his brothers concerned that he wants the throne instead because he is more successful on the battlefield. Blind with intense rivalry, they plotted against him and planned for him to be killed, only to know that Li Shimin found out and managed to kill them instead. A few months after this, his father stepped down from being emperor and Li Shimin became Emperor Taizong. Emperor Taizong has made many changes to the government when he ruled China. He has established four main departments that all reported to him. He encouraged his minister to be critical, and if he agreed with their criticism, he made changes. He started a new regulations which is called equal distribution of land, will allow for each family to own enough land for them to make a living. New tax system that was based on the number of adult men in the family and tried to keep it fair so people would prosper. Improving China, he conquering new lands such as Central Asia, Tibet, Mongolia, Manchuria, and part of Siberia. And China expanded to become the dominant power in Asia and the largest nation in the world. In 626, there was a lot of nobility and vastly inflated number of prefectures. and counties due to the fact that Emperor Gaozu, which is his father, had rewarded a great many people who had helped him in founding the Tang dynasty. To solve this problem, Taizong ordered his chancellor Fang Chunling to reduce the amount of civil and military force, stating that employing the right man is far more important than the sheer number of established force. Quality over quantity would be the order of the day. To remedy this issue, Taizong personally scrutinized the careers of individual officials in the provinces, promoting and demoting each based on their conduct, hence increasing the prestige of the post. Corruption was curbed and officials guilty were shamed publicly. He even made fun of them during imperial court. During his early reign, Emperor Taizong ordered that the severities of penalties for certain crimes be reduced. Frequent diminution began to occur concerning law and ethics, the philosophy of punishment, and the advantages of harsh and lenient law at the imperial court. We already can see he ruled the imperial court with lenient law. Taizong sought to strengthen central authority, consciously prolong the life of his dynasty, and to tune the famous examination system, which fed talented administrators into the bureaucracy by constructing public schools. He also accepted advice from his counselors that he must use his military conservatively due to the economy was still fragile and vulnerable. Taizong pursued a policy of easing relations and pursuing peace with China's neighbors, using marriage alliance and internal submission in order to keep his neighbors weak. When the economy strengthened, Taizong pursued a policy of wide-scale foreign expansion. As you can see here, during his reign, he has conquered a lot of land, including the Turkestan, which is one of the largest area. This is the family tree of the Emperor Tang Taizong. He actually has a bit of relation with the previous emperor, which is Emperor Wen of Sui dynasty. His father is actually a nephew of one of the emperor of Sui dynasty. His father, Li Yuan, which is the first emperor of Tang dynasty, then married Duchess Dao and have 5 siblings. The first one is Li Jiangcheng, who was the first crown prince of Tang dynasty, and then him, Li Shimin, the third son, Li Yuanba, the fourth son, Li Yuanji, the fifth sibling is Princess Bingyang. Emperor Tang Taizong have many wives. To be exact, about 11 wives. So the first wife, which is his empress, is Empress Wen Di Zhangsu clan of Henan. He had 3 sons and 4 daughters. His 9th son, Liu Zi, is his successor. The second wife is Gui Fei from Wei clan, also Gui Fei from Yang clan, Fei from Yang clan, Fei from Yin clan, Ge Fei from Yan clan, Jin Fei from Zhu clan, Kenan from Wu clan. He also married the princess consort Yang clan of Hong Kong and has 1 son. And he married lady from Wang clan and unknown wife, which were 2 sons and lots of daughters. Emperor Tang Taizong was known with his greatness of ruling and tactical and braveness in his reign. One of the greatness is he broke the Turkish invasion and succeeded in conquer Mongolia. This greatness will be soon explanation in the battle part. The next greatness is he conquered the tribes that founded the government in Central Asia. The third one, he conquered the Turkestan, which is one of the war that he had before. Next, the city of Chang'an developed, became the biggest metropolitan city and a rich trade center. City of Chang'an has become its capital city, where his palace is stated and where he ruled as began. Another greatness that he had was Buddhism flourished and spread to Korea and Japan. Religious tolerance and diversity in China flourished under Taizong's reign. Religions of Confucianism were surpassed, and the popularity of Taoism was curbing as Buddhism became widely practiced. Christian missionary Elephant was allowed to preach his religion in China and introducing its concepts to the country. Persian mission was also allowed to establish Zoroastrian groups. Many other Christian-based governments request aid in stopping the militant spirit of other religions. For example, the Byzantine wanted to stop Islam from spreading, however, was refused by Emperor Taizong. See how great it is? He just wants to keep peace among each other, because he did not want to get involved in religious wars. As a devout Buddhist, he believed all faiths should be able to live together. As you can see here in the map, you can see how spread the Buddhism in other countries, and the photos is shown of his meeting with Byzantine to ask for military aid, but he refused it. The battle. The first battle he joined is when Emperor Tang Taizong versus the Eastern Turkic Khaganate. They launched an attack upon Chinese territory. After mustering their force of 100,000 nomadic cavalry, the Turks attacked. The invaders advanced to within 10 miles of the capital and probably tried to retreat, riding through the province of Shanxi. The Eastern Turks suffered a number of river revolts and climate disaster which weakened them in 627 and 628. Soon after Khaganjeli had returned from China, he sent his nephew Tuli to repel the rebels, but he was defeated, and with the rage he imprisoned Tuli, but after 10 days he escaped and fled to Taizong. Taizong helped this disintegrating along by supporting Tuli against Jie Li. The group led by Tuli proceeded to become vassals of the Tang and send tribute to the imperial court. Emperor Taizong sent 100,000 Chinese troops under the command of prominent generals such as Li Jing and Li Shiji to subdue the Turks. The Chinese defeated and eventually captured Khaganjeli, who was sent to Chang'an in order to live out his days as a political hostage. Tuli Khagan was actually gifted with mansion by Taizong and was even made a general in the army. As the leader of Eastern Turks in their custody, the remaining Turks chieftain came to the imperial court requesting that Taizong assume of a mantle of Tengri Khagan, which is the heavenly Khagan, with the implication of supreme suzerainty over tribes and the right to mediate disputes. Some 100,000 Turks were distributed among the Chinese frontier from Hebei to Shanxi, and 10,000 prominent tribal aristocrats came to live in Chang'an. The next battle is him versus the Western Turks. Emperor Taizong began to employ similar divide and conquer tactics against the Western Turks, who were also weakened by the same kind of internal division as Eastern Turks. The wealthy oases and Silk Road cities that is also to the west once again come under Chinese rule during Taizong reign, when the Anzi Protectorate was established in 640. Tibetans were pacified by marriage alliances. As you can see here, this is how wide his conquering land was. The next battle is Emperor Tang Taizong versus the Goryeo Kingdom of Korea. Emperor Taizong personally led an invasion which achieved some impressive tactical victories, but ultimately suffered strategic defeat when winter devastated the Tang army. The same invasion in 647 and 648 also led to failure due to same cause. The last battle that he has joined is the Emperor versus the Zhu Yantou, which is one of the Turks tribe. While Taizong was campaigning against Goryeo, Koreans edged another Turkic tribe, the Zhu Yantou, for an alliance, but they refused. But then the passive Turkic leader Zenzuki II passed away and his son Duomi became his successor. He declared war against Tang but was quickly defeated. As you already know, Emperor Tang Taizong had great military success. Many chieftains came to Taizong and asked him to become their khagan. The Anbai Protectorate was established in the north in 647, bringing the Tang borders to their furthest extent. As you can see here, this is a bas relief of a soldier and horse with elaborate saddle and stirrups from the tomb of Emperor Taizong. The relief shown here depicts Autumn Dew, also known as World Wine Victory. And the other photo is a map where his furthest conquering extends. However, Emperor Taizong last year on the throne were a sad ending to what had been a glorious reign. The death of his wife, the Empress Zhangsun, who had been his wife and able advisor, the demotion of his heir for plotting against him, and rivalry among his other sons for the succession is a sad ending. He demoted Li Shiji, which is one of his sons, out of the capital to be commandant remote Dai prefecture, believing that he would not be submissive to Li Zi, which is his successor, and if he hesitated, he would be executed immediately. If not, after the death of Emperor Taizong, he will be a chancellor. Emperor Taizong then was contracted a debilitating disease which exhausted his strength in 645, meaning that much of the routine governance had to be assumed by his heir apparent, which is Li Zi, the future Emperor Gaozong, and wrote 4 chapters to him laying out his ideals for monarchy. By summer of 649, he was seriously ill, with some believing that his sickness was caused by the pills given to him by the alchemists. On the 10th of July 649, he passed away at the Zhouwei Palace in Chang'an at the age of 51. Although his reign was ended with a very sad ending, his contribution of expanding the power of China Empire is much appreciated. During Emperor Taizong's reign, the Tang dynasty succeeded to expand the power of China Empire from North Vietnam at the south border to North Korea at the north border, and as far to the Central Asia at west border. This conquest occurred due to strategic and tactical style of government involving the imperial court, economy, and the strength of army. As you can see here, the China Empire has grown so extensively and become the largest part of the Central Asia. Next, one of his contributions is wood printing technology. In 636, during the reign of Emperor Taizong, Emperor Zhangsun's paradigm of womanhood was printed and became widely read. Woodblock printing used during the Tang dynasty was simple in concept but cumbersome in achieving it. It began with a block made of wood from a pair of a Chinese jujube tree. The Chinese character will be written invertedly into the wood. The carving process was long, as the carver must carefully carve his way through smallest details of the complicated Chinese character. Then the engraving panel or board that ready to use applied with ink, and the paper would be placed on top of the wood, carving with little pressure application and wait until the ink sets to the paper. The panels were reusable and multiple copies of the same text would could be produced in short period. These are one of the evidence of already printed from the wood printing technology, which you apply ink in a carved surface and stamp it on a paper. Next, we will see dramas and films that has portrayed the Li Shimin or the Emperor Tang Taizong. The first one is The Prince of Shu, Li Shimin, portrayed by Peter Ho, a 2005 Chinese television series loosely based on the early life of Li Shimin, who later became Emperor Tang Taizong. It focused on Li Shimin's romance with Rosie, a fictitious Sui dynasty princess. It's more like a love story. Next one is Carol of Zhengguan, portrayed by Tang Po-xiang, Chinese historical television series directed by Wu Ziyu. It was first aired on CCTV1 in China in 2007. The series is based on the events in the Zhengguan era of the reign, which is the golden era of Emperor Taizong during the Tang dynasty. Last but not least, The Rise of the Tang Empire is a portrait by Ma Yui, Chinese television series based on the events in the Zhengguan era, also which is the golden era, during the reign of Emperor Taizong of the Tang dynasty. The 50 episodes long series is directed by Zhang Jianya and written by Ah Cheng and Meng Zhenji. It was first broadcast on BTV in China in December 2006. These are the references from my presentation. And that is all from me about Emperor Tang Taizong of Tang Dynasty. Thank you and Assalamualaikum.